Hey everybody, welcome back to another YouTube video. Yeah, it's time. Have a kiss? Mwah. Lie down. Good boy. So one of the things we're going to talk about today is how to meet a dog. We were talking about this in a consultation that I did through last week. It was with a lovely family with some really lovely kids, and we were talking about how to pat a dog properly. What we'll talk about today is if we're thinking about a dog that's out in a public space. So we'll make the assumption that you don't know this dog. And what we're going to talk about is the best way to meet and interact with a dog that you do not know. So the first thing, first and foremost, is if I'm a child, I have to ask my parent. I can't just go running up to random dogs in the street and sticking my hands in their face. Honestly, adults shouldn't do that either, but especially not kids. You've got to ask your parents first to make sure that that's okay with them. So first person you ask is your carer or your guardian or your parent. Cool, number one. The second person you need to ask is the guardian or the carer of the dog. So if that dog is, for example, tied up to a pole outside a shop, if there's no person to ask, then you cannot pat that dog. End of story. Admire it from a distance. And I mean like maybe 5 meters distance. You want to give that dog a nice amount of space. Because remember, a dog that's tied up and a dog that's on a leash can't move away from you. And they know that, they're not dumb. So a dog who might feel scared if they're tied up to a pole, or even if they're held by their owner by their leash, they might be more likely to react negatively because they know they can't move away. So we first ask our carer or our guardian or our parent. We ask the carer or the guardian of the dog. So 1, 2, if you've got those yeses, there's another person that you need to ask, or another sentient being that you need to ask. And that's the dog. Now, this is the thing that most people forget about because we get so excited. We've got the green light from mum and dad. We've got the green light from the guardian of the dog. We just go, sweet! And we come in for the two-handed face grab. Now, I'm sure you guys could imagine if I come up to the camera really quickly like this, how that might feel to a dog that doesn't know you. I mean, imagine, and I use this information, or I use this analogy often with my clients to say that, imagine if when I arrived for your consultation, first time you've met me, the first time I'm coming into your house, post-COVID, and the first thing I did was to rush up to you and press my cheek to your cheek and hold you in a 5-second hug. Now I'm being friendly, but I'm being very inappropriate. Sound familiar? So, just because you got the green light from mum and dad, just because you got the green light from the owner of the dog, does not give you permission to just rush at that dog and lavish it with your affection. I'm sorry, but you are not God's gift to dogs. We all seem to think that we are, and we all seem to think that all dogs love us, but please remember, you're not God's gift to dogs. Ask the dog. The best way that you can ask the dog, and noting that my dog is fast asleep, so he's probably gonna say no, and that's okay. Oh, I was just checking, I thought my camera had turned off. That would have been very disappointing. So when we ask the dog, it's important to note my dog's probably going to say no to me right now because he's fast asleep. But when we ask the dog, we want to invite the dog into our space. I'm going to go, Odin, hi buddy, do you want to come over here? He's like, no, I don't, because I'm sleeping and you're bored. So this is a really good example of him saying, yeah, no, I don't necessarily want you to come and invade my space. I'm resting. You woke me up to do this YouTube video. Anyone who follows our channel knows that I love to pick siesta time for Odin to do my videos. It's just when it fits into my schedule, but clearly not into his. So when a dog is at rest, even if it's your own dog, if you invite them over to you and they say no thank you, suck it. Like just go, oh well, never mind then. If I wanted to, I could be more enticing. I could go out the back, I could do all sorts of things, or I could just say, maybe he doesn't want to be touched right now, and that's okay. So if you're out in public and you want to interact with a dog, that's awesome. Dogs are awesome. Clearly we want to pat them all, but show some restraint and show some self-control. If you're a kid, ask your parent. If you're an adult or a kid, ask the owner of the dog. And if you're an adult or a kid, ask the dog. You always invite the dog into your space because that gives the dog the option to say no if they want to, by just staying away from you or by walking away. When you're interacting with that dog, try not to get too caught up with yourself, even if they do say yes. Pat them for a few seconds and then stop. And then see what happens if you stop. Do they nuzzle your hand and say, please, can I have some more? Or do they shake off and walk away like, oh God, I'm glad that's over. So just really important to note, Not all dogs want to meet you, not all dogs want to pat, and that could be a really friendly dog that doesn't want to meet you and doesn't want to pat. If the dog does meet you and does want to interact, make sure they're enjoying it. Make sure you're not patting them over on the top of the head, because most dogs don't enjoy getting pat on the top of the head. If I was to say, Odin, can I give you snacks? He says, yeah, I don't mind a little chin scratch. I might give him a little chin scratch for a bit and then stop. And then say, do you want more chin scratchings? He's like, nah, my eyelids are getting droopy. Oh, my sweet potato. I'll give you some more loving. Good boy. So, guys, in a nutshell, ask the owner, ask your parents, ask the owner, ask the dog, invite the dog into your space, and go slow. Make sure you test for consent, move back, see if they're enjoying it, and remember that one of the best ways to get bitten by a dog is to rush up when they're on leash and to shove your hand in their face. Go slow, go steady, and make sure, if nothing else, you can read that dog's body language so you can tell when they're feeling uncomfortable before they have the need to grizzle or growl. All right, I hope that's a good one for you all this week. Again, bit of talking and not a lot of training, but I need to pick my days better. I need to pick my times better. And God, honestly, at the moment, we're so busy, which is great. But it does mean that this has to get done when it gets done, mate. All right, good night. I love you. Happy training.